Greetings, everyone. Richard Solomon, taking care of business. And today, we are going back in time. We're going to Forlini's. We're going to see the history of Forlini's, the incredible food, and the incredible family element. We're with Joe Forlini. Hey, Joe, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, Richard. Thank you for having us.
And I thought the first thing we do before we get into the food and the delicious dishes and the great coffee and the wine, let's talk a little bit about the family history, because we're sitting in the lobby here, and I'm looking at some glorious photos of probably the old New York, the 30s, the 40s.
Yeah, exactly, Richard. If you want to start here, it's my grandfather. He started the place back in 1943. His name was Joe. And you see some of the pictures over here. They're from the 40s here and everything else like that. It's on 5 Baxter Street. And then in 1956, my father and my uncles, my father Frank, his brother Freddie, and his brother Hugo came here, and they purchased this place, which is now 93 Baxter, where we are right now.
And just so where people know where we are, we're in Lower Manhattan, and we're right by the prison, right?
Right across the street from the prison.
So the most important thing is when you get out, come here for a good meal.
That's right.
Right? If you're going to bust out or
tunnel out, just bring your credit card. No, your own, not somebody else's.
Now, because we're on radio and people can't really see this, this is a phenomenal. That looks like an old Dodge.
That looks like maybe a Plymouth, maybe.
Yeah, like an old. And what's interesting, it says Forlini's Restaurant, Bar, Cocktail Lounge, Italian cuisine, and then the all-important words,
air conditioning, right? Because back then, it's like when you bought a car years ago. I mean, you go back, they didn't have air conditioning, you had to pay extra and everything else like that. Same thing, Rich.
Now, look, what do we see in these photos? We see, first of all, they're not in, some of them not even yet in color.
Yeah.
It shows you how old they are.
This picture here, I'm going to go back to these pictures here. This one here, this is my father and my mother behind the bar in 1940s. This is another picture of my father behind the bar in 1940s. And my uncles are over here on the outside. Same thing over here. It's my Uncle Freddie working, and my Uncle Hugo working, and my father working also. Yeah.
But it's a well-stocked bar.
Yep.
And it's got that old grandeur, high
ceilings, and that one little television in the corner. They used to watch a Yankee game back then,
There you go.
With Mel Allen and Red Barber and all those guys, And
it's fascinating. Look at the way people dressed back then. You see the long coats for the men and on little racks.
Yeah, the little racks.
And I guess there was no coat check back then.
No, there's no coat check. This is your coat check, Right.
And I guess fedoras.
Yeah, they wore the hats and their jacket and the tie on and everything else like that. Yeah.
So, what kind of food did they serve back then?
In fact, Richard, they served basically a lot of stuff we still serve today in that food, but they served pasta and chicken and veal, and back then, in fact, we'd had a little, if you go back, they even had a little pizza oven back then, which we don't have anymore, but, they just served family neighborhood stuff and the region that we came from, Piacenza, they served a lot of food that came from that area around there too.
So I see they have a well-stocked bar.
Right.
Do you have any menus from this era?
Not this era, no. Unfortunately, when they sold that, when they got rid of actually they knocked it down because that block was. But I do have a menu from the first 1957 menu from the second Fellini's. Not the second one, but the one that my father and my uncles took over back in 1956. I do have a menu for that, and we can go through that, Richard, anytime you want to go through that.
Want to delve into that. So why did they pick this location?
This was up the block. This was still on Baxter Street. This was on Baxter. This was on Baxter.
What about Baxter Street?
Baxter's because they lived in the apartment building upstairs.
Oh, so it was a quick commute.
Yeah, you go downstairs. There was no elevators back then.
Did they have like a fireman's pole and slide down?
Yeah. Probably in the backyard. The old fire escapes,
So who did the shopping? Who did the cooking? Where'd they get the stuff back then?
Back then, my grandfather probably did a lot of shopping with my father and my uncles. They probably went to the market early in the morning.
Like with the Hunts Point Market?
Yeah, probably the Hunts Point Market and everything else like that, whatever was around. And probably had a lot of vegetable guys that used to come around. They probably bought off the carts and everything else like that, Richie. So, back then it was different. And now today we do basically the same thing also, but... they worked hard. These men, they really worked hard.
They built an incredible business.
Yeah.
So I noticed. Let's go walking.
Yeah.
I noticed that as we walk in. I guess this is what the main room.
The back room. We call it the back room or the party room.
There's paintings. There's
paintings.
There's plaques. Like here's a plaque. Robert Morgenthau.
Robert Morgenthau, we call him the boss. He's the boss. That's his nickname, the boss. And this is his booth. And when he would call up, his secretary, Ida, would call up and say, the boss is coming in. He'd have his table for the day.
Wow.
Yeah, that was his table.
So a lot of history was probably made at this table in terms of whether people were indicted.
Oh, I have no idea.
I'm just saying.
It probably was. Who knows? Right? Yeah, you're right, Rich.
You can't be the DA of Manhattan for 35 years, sit at a table and nothing happened, right? Other than maybe spill a little, tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce,
right?
Yeah, Rich.
All right, now I see another famous guy.
Federal Judge John Keenan. In fact, he was just here the other day, too. Nice fellow, still working.
And this is his table.
That's his table. Wow. Same thing, too. When I call up, they say, Judge Keenan's coming in. I said, how many people set up? 2, 4, 3, whatever it is, and this is his table.
Wow.
Yeah. And same thing with Federal Judge Kevin Duffy. Same thing, too, Richie.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So now I see there's a nice little family portrait.
Yeah, that's my father and my uncles.
All right, so let's walk over. Let's walk over. So we're looking. So in the back room, and we're looking at a really nice portrait. So they actually had to sit while somebody painted. It must have taken a lot of patience.
They probably did. Yeah, Rich. But that's my father on the left. That's Frank. My uncle Hugo's in the middle. My uncle Freddie's on the right, and my aunt Gracie's right here on the left hand side, and my aunt Julia's on the right hand side.
So what was their imprint into this restaurant? What was their legacy that they?
Their legacy. They worked hard. They were honest, hard workers, and they have the love for food and the love of people. That's what they did. They love food and they love people.
So of this generation, who cooked?
Well, my father actually was the cook at one time. My uncle Freddie was the bartender. He ran the whole bar, and my uncle Hugo was the waiter at that time. Yeah, I mean, going back when they first started off and everything else like that. And my aunts both worked as waitresses at one point or another. In fact, my aunt Gracie worked until the probably 1980s or something like that. Yeah, so
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Did they bring any famous recipes from sort of their family, from the old country?
Well, they did, Richie. They brought things like tortelli that we have here, panzerotti we have here, we have the involtini down here. We have so many different items that they brought over. I mean, their big thing was polenta. They grew up on polenta. My father, my.
And what is polenta?
Polenta is cornmeal. It's cornmeal, and it's almost like an Italian grits, I guess you would call it, Southern grits. And they would eat polenta with anything. Their veal cacciatore with polenta, chicken cacciatore with polenta, anything they would get, they put the polenta with it. It's a substitute, back then. So, yeah.
So when you grew up, did you eat in the restaurant as a kid?
I ate. When we grew up, I grew up in Manhattan. I was born on Baxter Street, but at 5 years old, we moved up to the Bronx.
Okay.
So I didn't get the chance to come down, eat every day. You know what I'm saying? But we did have family gatherings, communions and confirmations and birthdays and things like that. So when we came in, we used to eat all the time and everything else like that.
So
family, my mother, my aunts, and everyone else. Yeah.
So as a kid, what did you love eating here?
My favorite, and it still is today, and it's very simple. It's penne bolognese. That's it. I used to eat penne bolognese. And my father said, eat. I said, what? I said, no. I said, eat pasta. Okay, I eat pasta. Now they tell me don't eat pasta, but,
just a little.
Just a little. I know, a little. But that was my favorite dish when I grew up. I was just give me penne bolognese. I was a happy kid,
You know what? Who doesn't love a nice big bowl? I remember one time I came here, right? Because I go to the courts here.
Yeah.
I'm not as famous as some of the other people.
Oh, you are famous. Stop. You're famous.
I came home from court. Yeah. May have been small claims. And I remember it was a cold day. It was a cold winter day. And Jack said, you need a nice bowl of soup to warm up. And it really did the trick.
Yeah.
So food is medicine. It's love, it's comfort.
That's sure, Rich. Yeah, sure.
So let's now talk a little bit about sort of wine and appetizers and things like that. All right. So let's say I'm coming in for lunch.
Right.
All right. So maybe I won't have a glass of wine during lunch. But let's say I want to have a nice appetizer. What do you kind of think that's
usually
cool?
most of the people for lunch when they come in, they'll have like a caprese, mozzarella, tomatoes, roasted peppers, and they'll put a little prosciutto on top. A little vinegar and oil-based dressing. We could do something like that. Summertime now, I sell a lot of frutti di mare too for appetizers. So, and we have the hot antipasto too that people have a so-called antipasto like that. But a lot of people today, they come in and eat salads.
Because I was watching
everybody was. So I do have a Fellini salad, but we make our own, which is the lettuce, tomatoes, the onions, the peppers, the celery, the grated cheese, the croutons, the vinegar and oil-based dressing, and little olives in there. And people, we put chicken on it. People want shrimp on it. We put shrimp on it. And that's really a big seller for us right now for lunch. The salad.
Right.
Yeah, because we got a lot of court people that come in. They're going to come in. They get an hour to eat, and they go back. Yeah.
All right, for the people who don't know this out in Radio Land, pretty much the courts break about 1.
About 1.
Right, and then
back
about 2:15.
About 2:15, Rich.
Right.
Yeah.
So the window to get in is you got to get in.
Yep.
You can't order anything that's going to take too
long.
long.
Take a long time.
And then you have to sort of, settle your bill, go to the bathroom, and then hustle back to court.
Back out to court.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
And you can't be too groggy.
No.
Because the worst thing is you have a big meal, and then it's like, all right, closing statement.
I know, right?
It's like, Judge.
Yeah.
I went to Fellini's for lunch. I had the spaghetti with meatballs.
Yeah.
I need a nap. Can we do this tomorrow? And the jurors are looking at
they
you,
say,
right?
what?
Yeah, no nap.
No, you're right, Rich. You're right. 100% right, yeah.
So, I've been here during lunch, and there's always a nice crowd, but you can always tell who the attorneys are. You can they always have the briefcase.
Yeah, the briefcase,
and they got
dressed in the suit, the jacket, and the tie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And sometimes I recognize, the people, you don't want to say anything because, you want to give them their space and stuff like that. But you totally see how, the court people kind of sweep in.
Yeah.
And then they all
sweep out.
Which is why it's nice to come. Sometimes I come in at 1:30.
Yeah.
Because they're wrapping it up.
They're wrapping it up and they're going out.
Right.
But over here, you see the judge, you see the lawyers, you see the defendants, you see the prosecutor. Everybody eats here. We're like Switzerland over here. Everybody goes back and does their business when they go back to court. Everybody eats here,
it's funny. I did a lot of federal court work in Brooklyn, and there's a place, there's a diner across the street from the federal court there.
Right.
And I remember talking to the woman who was like the maitre d', she was a Greek woman, and I spoke to her a little bit in Greek here and there. And she would tell me that, there was a lot of politics and where you had to sit people because you couldn't put defendants near judges. Yeah. You couldn't put prosecutors near defendants, right. And so they kind of knew this is the asbestos litigation. So these guys are over here. This is this is this little criminal problem. But so we're going to keep those guys over there. Yeah.
Sometimes people come in and one lawyer firm comes in and another lawyer firm comes in and says, oh, we see them in court. We got to talk privately. So one sits in the front dining room, one sits in the back dining room. So that's,
right. Cause
and we always accommodate them,
Right. Cause your expert witness strategy, you
don't want to hear somebody over here. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about wine. Let's go take a look at some of your wine. All right. Okay. So let's say it's dinner time. Court's over. The car's parked, not driving, taking the subway home. Right. Because we're socially responsible here.
I got a wine here, and I got the big wine in the front over there. You want to start the back, or you want to do the front?
We'll start because we're already here.
Okay.
So, what do you like, and what do you recommend? Which wine to go with what kind of food?
Well, Richie, I'm a red wine drinker, so I basically, honestly, I if I'm doing a pasta dish, or if I'm doing a chicken dish or a veal dish, I like to go something like a Barbera, which I have in the other wine list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at what we have here, and then we'll switch over.
Okay.
So the wines that we're looking at, which ones do you like, and why do you like them? What
this
would you
is one of
pair
my
them with?
favorite wines of all time, the Chateau Saint Michel Cabernet Sauvignon. I had this on a cruise one time, and I fell in love with this wine, and I brought it in, and we sell a lot of this wine too, the Chateau Saint Michel. And I like cabs because cabs are heavy, and I like heavy wines. Richie.
You like a heavy wine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have the Rufinos here, the El Ducale, which is a blend. It has a Sangiovese, a Shiraz, and a Merlot. It has a different blend over there. Some people like it. Some people just rather go to a regular Chianti or a Petit Shiraz. I got the Ravenwood Petit Shiraz. I have the Gold Label here. That's one of my favorite too, the Gold Label, the Rufino. And, we got the KJ Cab and the KJ Merlot also. So.
And of course I see you have Montepulciano.
We just sold a couple of bottles tonight too. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a friend, Marty. Hey, Marty.
Yeah.
He loves Montepulciano.
Yeah.
Yes, he loves that. He loves Italian food, and he always has Montepulciano with it. In terms of other wines, let's take a walk. We're rapidly moving along. We're almost done with our first segment. In case you're just joining us, I'm Richard Solomon, taking care of business. And here we go. And we're looking at wines at Forlini's because we're about to have a nice meal here. All right. So what else do you have that you like?
Well, I like the Barolo too, the Marchesi di Barolo. That's one of my favorites also. We also have a nice, these are my Barberas, the Barbera d'Alba and Barbera here, but I like the Barbera d'Alba very good. I like, that's one of my favorite wines over here.
How would you describe it? Is it light? Is it heavy? Is it sweet?
Barbera is a little bit lighter than the Cabernet Rich.
Right.
You know, it's on a little more on the light side. It's not a heavy wine, but that's the one I prefer with pastas and veals and chickens. Now, if I had a steak or something like that, I'll go to a Cab. And this is one of my favorite ones, Corleone Cabernet from Sicily. This is a beautiful. I love this wine over here, Rich.
Wow. You know, you don't really see a lot of wine from Sicily.
Yeah.
So, how did you discover this one? And
this was brought in. We had a wine salesman come in. He brought this wine in. Me and my cousin Derek and my cousin Joseph, we both all tasted it, and we fell in love with this wine, and we carried this wine. This is a very good wine. Of course, I got the Britannia Amarone up there, and I have a beautiful Gattinata here too, which I happen to like Gattinatas too.
What's that? I've never heard that before.
You never Gattinata?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Gattinata. It's a good solid red wine. This is a product of Italy also, and I mean I happen to like it too. But I mean it's not my favorite, but I happen to like it too.
All right. So if you're having a glass right now, before the break, what would you have?
If I had a glass, Richie, I'd take the Barbera.
All right, the Barbera d'Alba.
Yeah.
All right.
That I like the Barbera d'Alba, and if you'd send me. So, Joe, get your second glass of wine. I'll take the Principal di Corleone Cabernet Sauvignon.
All right, so before we break for this one segment, keep it right here. What do we say? Azalut Chindama.
Azalut Chindama.
All right, so hold it right here. We'll be right back. Rich Solomon at Forlini's in New York City on Baxter Street. All right, welcome back to Forlini's. We're at the bar because you know what? I'm a member of the bar, right? All right. So, Walter, welcome to Taking Care of Business. So let's talk. It's right now we're shooting in the summer. So what are the nice summer drinks that you like to make that are refreshing, that are light, that are good to unwind after a day of work, or and just before you walk home and you have a little nap,
Well, it's so many of them. I mean, like I can recommend a refreshing drink. We got first this Italian sangria.
Oh, what's the Italian? Tell me about the Italian sangria. All right.
So, Italian sangria.
So what's in that?
Nice mix combination of the best house one we got. Mix it up with some.
Is it red or white? Red?
It's depends what you like. I can make it white, I can make it red.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And this is the most people like it. Also, we make like, what can I say? This Malibu Beverages, that's good, refreshing.
And I heard about this tremendous drink that you made the other day with pomegranate vodka. Tell me about that one.
Yes, this is
does it have a name so when people listen to the show and they go, hey, I want to talk to Walter, give me the pinnacle pomegranate drink.
Right. Excellent. We make it with some pomegranate, then we mix it up with some vanilla vodka.
Right.
Then with pineapple juice and seltzer water and cranberry juice. Excellent for this time of the year.
All right.
And so many. We got some pina coladas, the best.
Can't go wrong with a pina colada.
Regular, you know what I mean.
What else do you like? What else do you like to make with vodka? Because I know people love vodka.
Can make a vodka Cosmopolitan is good. Always Cosmopolitan. Apple Martini. Apple Martini is always the best.
I remember there was a time in New York City when the Apple Martini was the rage.
Oh yeah. Everybody wanted Apple Martini.
And then so many raspberry Martini. Raspberry is the best.
Yep.
And
now, in terms,
so many.
So what are the difference? I don't really know the difference. I know there's all these kinds of vodkas. Which ones are good for what kinds of drinks? Like when do you use Absolute? When do you use, Stoli?
But the most is like the people feel like. I mean, very simple vodka and cranberry. Right. That's regular splash of seltzer water. A lot of limes on it,
Okay.
And refreshing too. And also the vodka pineapple. That's good.
Okay.
And also martinis. Martinis always good. Martinis. Straight vodka martini.
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred, yes. So, and extra olives on the side.
Because you need to have vegetables, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Extra olives on the side. Beautiful.
Are there any coffee drinks that you make with a little bit of something to make it exciting?
Some people, when they ask me for make a nice espresso martini.
Oh, what's that? What's an espresso? Yeah.
We got espresso martini. We use this double espresso. It's already done, so just mix it up with a fresh espresso.
Yeah.
You put a little bit Bailey's Irish cream.
Right.
Shake it, and the 3 coffee beans on top, and just enjoy.
Wow, there you go. All right.
That's the way to do it.
All right, Walter, thank you so much.
But I always invite everyone to come over here and say hello to Walter, Joe Forlini, and I'll make it whatever they feel like it.
All right.
Yes.
All right, great.
And the ring and the steam still work. Look.
There you go. The old-fashioned register.
From the 1950s.
Not digital.
No, I got 3 from the 1950s.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. All right, we're continuing at Forlini's. We just went from the bar. We're sitting down. We're back at the boss's table. Yeah. and I actually know this menu by heart. But what's actually very interesting is I always ask Jack what's special or what, or maybe he'll make a little something.
Yeah.
So let's kind of do a little bit of a walkthrough.
Richie, we have our specials for the day that are lined over here. So whatever they have, today we had some pappardelle bolognese with the meatball and sausages. For appetizer, the melon and prosciutto. We do a chicken Luigi, which is a little golden brown chicken nuggets with hot sausage and vinegar peppers.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's a delicious.
That sounds great. Oh yeah,
we're gonna have that tonight, me and you.
That sounds great.
Now, if you turn the page, the first thing you'll see is the gourmet dinner. This is our specialty. This is we start off with a hot antipasto with the clams, shrimps, mussels, artichoke hearts, and everything else. Then we go to a 3-pasta combination as a second course with the gnocchi al pesto, the panzerotti piacentina, and the tortelli alfredo.
So for people who don't know all this Italian, right. what are these things?
Well, the gnocchi is a potato dumpling.
Right.
And that's in a basil sauce. The panzerotti, they're little miniature manicotti stuffed with spinach and cheese, and they got a little grana padano in it, and we do that in a creamy bolognese sauce. And the tortelli are long-shaped raviolis with ricotta and spinach, and we do that. It's called la cua, which means with tails. I'll show you to them later, Richie. And that's in an Alfredo sauce. So that's your second combination. Your third combination we call the Tre Muscateri, which is an involtini di gamberi, which is a rolled shrimp stuffed with prosciutto. Okay. A shrimp stuffed with prosciutto, cheese, and mushrooms, and a white wine sauce. We do a veal piccata and a chicken marsala. And we serve that with little fried zucchini. And then for dessert, you get a choice of our homemade cheesecake, what we make here, or tartufo, or cannoli, whatever you like here.
I love tartufo. Oh, who doesn't love tartufo? Who loves it?
Oh, you're so un-American if you don't like tartufo,
Who does not love tartufo?
And we slice them up, and you put a little whipped cream on it, and everybody's happy.
I'll tell you a quick story. A long time ago, I used to eat with a gentleman who was a big lawyer at a big utility company somewhere in New York State. And I remember he always had, at the end of lunch, he used to always tell the waiter, he used to wiggle his finger in a motion, and that meant cappuccino tartufo.
Oh, really? Wow.
Kind of did the hand motion.
He was a steady guy.
And he was a really great guy. Yeah. And so I remember cappuccino tartufo was always the way to end the meal, always. Oh.
So then we go over, Richie, we have appetizers here, all the different types of appetizers, congealed calamari salad, frutti di mare, I got the antipasto, shrimp cocktail, stuffed artichokes, mozzarella and carrots, everything else like that, and fried calamari. We got soups here. One of the interesting soups we have is something called brodetto piacentina.
Which is what?
It's a cheese and cheese and egg dumpling.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's almost like a matzo soup.
Matzo
soup, Italian style, though. So I'll show you that a little bit later.
You make those from? You make them fresh?
Right, everything's that's made fresh too. So we can make that today too. I'll show you that. And you have all the other soups, and then you have the vegetables, and we have our salads again. Then we go to our specials over here, the scaparella that we have here. But our scaparella is a little bit different. We do the chicken. I put sausage, filet mignon, peppers, mushrooms, everything, garlic sauce. I got stuffed baked shrimp.
See, the only thing is you can't have this for lunch because you'll never go back to court.
You won't get back to court.
You'll need somebody to carry you and in your bag.
Oh, forget about it. You'd have to go the next day.
I need a shirt, but just to carry the bag.
Yeah. And if you see that, we got the lobster combination for 2 with the linguine, with the mussels, clams, and shrimps and everything. And We have something called cornuto. Now, cornuto, if you know, it's the Italian horns.
Okay.
Okay, so we got what they put is the 2 shrimp scampi on the end that almost look like the Italian horns with the veal, the chicken, the eggplant, the prosciutto, white wine, and cheese all melted on top. And that's a heavy dish too. You know, if you want to eat, that's what you got to eat. You know?
Have the limo take you home
the next day.
Right, exactly.
We go on our pasta dishes over here on the next page.
All the pasta's homemade?
Most of them, I would say, not so much the cazzitti or like that, but the manicotti's homemade, the cannellone's homemade, the cheese raviolis homemade. All our fettuccinis are homemade, our gnocchis are homemade, our panzerotti, tortellini, all that is homemade. Agnolini, the little ravioli stuff with chicken breast, they're homemade also.
So what is the secret to making a good homemade pasta?
Well,
you know, without giving out too many secrets.
Well, I don't want to give out too many secrets.
But just like one little secret.
Well, I think the ingredients are the fresh ingredients that you have to use. And we always use fresh ingredients. And there's nothing that's frozen, nothing that comes from a can, nothing like that. We use very fresh stuff, and we make the pasta fresh here. I got a pasta machine, you know, and the guy comes in like 6:30 in the morning. He starts making his different pastas each day. He makes a different pasta, you know, Richie, and that's and a little love to it too, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Then you go to our veal section over here, you know, and the veal we have the regular veal, the piccata. The capriccioso, the marsala, the cardinale with the eggplant, the veal, the prosciutto, and the cheese melted on top.
What do you guys do that's a little bit different in some of your dishes? That's that you wouldn't see in other places?
I'm going to give. We don't melt mozzarella.
We bake it?
No, we don't use mozzarella.
What do you do?
Munster cheese.
Oh, okay.
Munster cheese. Everything that we make is Munster cheese.
Oh.
My grandfather did this back in the 1940s. He had somebody came in and said, Joe, some Jewish guy came in and said, Joe, use the Munster cheese. So he tasted the Munster cheese, and Munster cheese gives you a better texture, a better melt out of it. So ever since then, we've been using Munster cheese.
No kidding. Yeah. Well, see, that's what we do radio, to learn all these things.
Yeah. So, I mean...
So when you put food on the grill, like I see you have a lot of grilled chicken.
Yeah, grilled chicken, grilled steak.
What's the secret to a good grilling? You know?
Oh, good grilling. I think the grill has to be nice and hot.
Okay,
got to be nice, so really like sizzle hot, and it just sizzles the meat. It keeps the tenderized meat inside. You know what I'm saying, Richard? It keeps the tenderness inside. So, and you got to get good quality meat too. You got to get the steaks that are marbleized and everything else like that. So this way, it melts a little fat between them and everything else like that, Richie. The same with the veal chop. The veal chop is good here. The filet mignons are good here. I mean, everything is good here. You know. Let me see. You got the seafood here. Our shrimp scampi. Another thing that we're a little different. We put a little Worcestershire sauce on the scampi to give a little tang to it. You know. What I'm saying?
Okay. So.
Yeah, you get the garlic, the white wine, and everything else like that. But a little Worcestershire sauce. That's our. Yeah, so
you have to have learned something in the decades and decades of being in business.
Yeah.
When did you become the captain of the ship here?
Well, I started. My father brought me down here. I was 13 years old. It was the first day on the job. He said, because it was in the summertime. I was all from school, and he didn't want me hanging around the streets of the Bronx or whatever. So he brought me down here, and he said, "You're an assistant dishwasher." So I got the first.
Not even a dishwasher, an assistant.
Assistant dishwasher. So first day on the job, Richie. I got my pants on, I got my shirt on, I got my apron on, I got my hat on, and I walked into the kitchen, and the dishwasher was there, and he looked at me and he said in Italian, "No toccare niente," no, don't touch anything right now. And back then you had a 3-pot sink, if you remember. You had the wash, the dry, and the sanitizer with the burners underneath.
Okay.
Not like today. Today you push a button, everything goes through a conveyor belt. So he walked away, and I'm looking at it. I had these dishes in the bottom of the sink. I said, let me wash the dishes for that while. I put my arms in it, I burnt both my arms.
Oh.
They were boiling water.
Oh.
That's boiling water. So he came back, and my arms were both burnt. They were burnt. They were all red and everything else like that. And he said, "Oh, what'd you do?" And they put burnt cream on me and everything else like that. And I finally got the gloves on and everything else. And I went home that night. And my mother yelled at my father, said, "How could you make a 13-year-old kid burn his arms?" So my father said, "Okay, you got 1 day off, 1 day to recuperate, and then you come back to work again."
No workers' comp.
No. Back then again, I got to play the macaroni. That was my comp, you know. And ever since I fell in love with the restaurant business.
All right, so you're 13 years old, and then how did you go from there?
Well,
to sitting here with me tonight.
Okay, then I gradually I became a busboy. I became a waiter. And moved my way up to manager, and then when my uncles got to position where they were old and they didn't want to work that much anymore. Me and my two cousins, my cousin Derek and my cousin Little Joe, we bought the place from them.
Wow. So who does what amongst you guys in terms of responsibility?
Well, we don't take different. We all get together and we all talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the food. We talk about the liquor. We talk about the wines and everything else like that. We all put it together. So we all work together. One unfortunate thing right now, my cousin Joseph passed away in January, so it leaves me and my cousin now. Yeah, they're 57 years old. He passed away of pancreatic cancer. So, a good guy.
To his memory. To his memory.
I know. God bless.
So, what secrets have you learned from being in business, and what have the customers taught you about trends and tastes?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do, you have to love what you do. You have to love people. And the customers sometimes will educate you, and sometimes, they'll educate you to well, you have this type of wine or you have this thing. Can you get this in for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do? And you learn. Richie, the most important thing, you got to listen to the customers. You got to listen to the customers, because if you don't listen to the customers, you can't work in this business. It's all customer based. That's what it is, Rich.
When you travel the world,
do
you look for recipes? Do you look for little ideas to bring in?
When I go on vacation, I go to the Caribbean. I just want to have a drink, and I would sit on the beach.
So I guess there's gonna be no jerk macaroni.
No, but my father right now is 93 years old, and he's over in Italy now. He'll come back with a recipe right now. So he'll come back with something small.
All right. So let's talk about your father for a minute. I see he was an honored military person.
He was a World War II veteran. He was 11th Airborne, 187 Regiment. He fought in the Pacific against the Japanese. They went up all the islands and everything else, the Leyte, Luzon, all those Philippine islands and everything else like that. He got wounded over there, got the Purple Heart and everything else, and finally came home. So,
I noticed that there was some accolades on the wall that mention his service.
The rescue of Los Banos, which is his 11th Airborne, went in and they rescued people in prison camp over there before the Japanese had a chance to do bad things to them. So,
How long was he in the service?
He was a paratrooper for, 4 years, like that. Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
Did he bring back any stories or anything?
He brought back a lot of stories. He told us, they don't really, that generation didn't talk much about what went on, but, I begged him one time. I said, how was it? Did you ever get scared? He said, well, back then you didn't have a chance to be scared, because he said he was supposed to die 3 times. He says one time, he said there was Japanese snipers that came down and they were shooting at them, and they just missed my father. They tore a hole in his pants.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how close he came, yeah. And another time he said we were in a circle or something like that, and the bomb dropped, but the bomb didn't go off or something like that, so they were lucky like that. And another time, the third time, he got wounded. He got shrapnel in his neck and shrapnel in his legs and everything else like that. So and then they evacuated him and other people too. So, he just tell you small stuff like that. But that they don't boast about it.
No, I had a great client, Mike Lerner. He's a blessed memory now. Yeah. And I remember he told me he was a big smoker in World War II. Yeah. I said, how much did you smoke? He said, I smoked so much that I actually had my own foxhole. No one would go near me because he would draw fire at nighttime from snipers because they'd see the embers.
Right.
And it was considered like a risk. So I said, was it more important to smoke or was it more important to be safe? And he said, it was more important to get the cigarette in. So I said, didn't they tell you that cigarettes were bad for your health?
Right.
It
didn't make a difference back then.
Yeah. So when did he come home from the war and establish the restaurant?
No, he came home and he worked for his father. Him and my uncles worked.
Right, but he's established his presence in the restaurant.
Yeah, well, he worked for my grandfather back in the 40s and the 50s until they moved out in 56. Him and my Uncle Freddie moved out in 56 to buy the restaurant that we're here right now. And then 2 years later, my Uncle Hugo came and joined them.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, before we close the segment out, what is the most interesting thing in the history of this restaurant that you have that's like a memorabilia of anybody, like an old watch, old menus, old You know, I mean, that maybe that's not on display or something like that. You know, or a bottle of wine from the first opening day that you still have stashed away.
No, I still have, and I'll show it to you later. I got it downstairs. A 1957 menu from this restaurant.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and that I'll bring it up there, and you could see it and post it and everything else like that. That's one thing that we always kept here. You know,
what were the tastes of people like as customers back then? Because I know that they weren't drinking apple martinis.
No, there were more rye and bourbon drinkers back then, if you remember.
I do remember. My grandfather was a rye drinker. Yeah.
And if you remember back then, they would eat stuff like calf's liver, chicken livers, calf's brains, things like that.
In Greek, they call it kefalya. Yeah.
I'm just saying, back then, organ meat they eat a lot of, but today kids don't eat that. You don't see this generation eating that type of meat.
My grandmother once made kefalya.
Yeah.
And she showed it to me. She said, "Look." And I was like, "What's that?" And I knew what it was. I'm like, I know. So what she did for my brother, who's younger, is she just said, "Try this," and he liked it. But it's a good thing he didn't know. And it's a good thing he was like 6. You know?
Yeah, right. Because if you don't bet, he wouldn't have it. He'd be walking away.
Because my father always tells me that when he was a kid, they ate that kind of stuff. Yeah. But now we don't eat that. I don't know. It's just the idea of it's really changed a lot.
Right.
All right. So maybe we'll go in the kitchen and have a little. All right. So for all those people, hang in there. Richard Solomon taking care of business. We're at Fellini's on Baxter Street in Manhattan. Right. We're going to go to the kitchen and we're going to cook up some amazing food. We'll be right back. Don't move. Thanks. All right, we're continuing at Fellini's. Orders just come in. So this is real live radio. And there was 3 dishes. What were the 3 dishes that nice group of people ordered?
Chicken broccoli rava.
So chicken broccoli rava.
And panzerotti piacetina.
Which is what? What's that?
With a light cream sauce and bolognese sauce.
Okay.
And chicken piacetina, which is sauteed wine, light red sauce and.
Okay. And this is what?
Panzerotti.
Okay. Oh, so what's
what we make here?
Okay. Okay. So what is this exactly?
This is panzerotti, a little miniature Monaco stuff with spinach cheese, and we put grana padano in there.
Okay.
So you got to taste a little bit.
I'd love to taste that.
Okay.
Now, just so before you even start cooking, got to ask the ultimate radio question. See all this sauce, all these things simmering. What do we got there? Because I'm sure this is like the secret to the delicious.
No, these are soups. These are soups. Lentil soup.
And it's pasta fagioli.
Oh, I love pasta fagioli. In fact, I always order pasta fagioli all the time. What's this?
Bolognese, brown sauce, and marinara sauce.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Boy, it's hot in here. Wow. Yeah.
Woo.
Oh, yeah.
100 degrees.
Right, because you need to get it really. So you have this all the time on just
7 o'clock in the morning.
Since 7 o'clock in the morning.
7 o'clock. Day chefs come in 7 o'clock in the morning to do all the preparation and everything else like that. They work it through lunch, and this is my night shift. People, they come in about 4 and they work till 11 o'clock.
Wow. All right. So
stoves are on from 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. So in the wintertime, I'm going to sleep in here. But next time there's a 12-foot storm, I'm going to watch the forecast, and I'm going to just say, Joe, I'm sleeping on the floor in the kitchen. Nice and warm. Don't even need a blanket. All right. So maybe you'll narrate and he'll do the magic. All right. So
again, Andre, we need panzerotti piacentina. Okay.
So what kind of sauce is that?
That's bolognese sauce.
That's bolognese
sauce on top, and then we're gonna do a little cream sauce on there. That's it. That's it.
See, so it's kind of cool. You can't see this on the radio, but like they're taking things and they're, just what do you call it, drizzling and whatever.
That goes right in the oven.
Okay, so
now we got chicken piacentina. We got chicken, regular broccoli, and penne. Garlic and olive oil.
Right.
And the other one, she wants linguine, with broccoli di rapa, and grilled shrimps in there. Yeah. Okay?
All right, so we're going to watch this now take. So now we're going to the burners. And that's a pretty intense-looking flame there. Woo. Wow, that's hot. All right, so take out the saute pan, a little bit of olive oil. All right.
Get the ingredients rich. They're all in the refrigerators and everything else like that.
So how many meals can you cook at a particular time? Because there's only so much stovetop.
Well, you know what we do here, Richie? I mean, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, about 14, 16 burners. We're one of the few places, no dupes here. No dupe. Everything's done by memory. If I have a big party of 40, 50 people, and they come in, I'll say like 10 chicken marsalas, 4 veal parmesans, 3 broiled filet of soles, and they'll remember it.
Wow.
They'll come out like that, and that's one party. And then if another party comes in at 2, and another party comes in at 3, and another party comes in at 4, they'll memorize everything. Everything will be coordinated between the 3 chefs.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so I see the oil is in the pans, and they're beginning to warm up. I see garlic being smashed. Yeah. And I guess it's all nice, fresh garlic.
That's all fresh
it's all
garlic.
good. So this is like the Mediterranean diet, you know. Oil, olive oil is good for you.
Yeah.
Garlic, all good for you.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to get this. This is a great sound. This is the sound of sizzling garlic. Of course, maybe the microphone's going to melt, but that's the
Don't drop it, Richie. Don't drop it in there.
So here,
otherwise, I have a new dish.
That's right.
Microphone with garlic and olive oil.
Eterol garlic. Yeah. So wow, see, that's a great sound. So you're gonna get the garlic. So you get
Also fresh portobello we have.
All right, that's a big one too. Those are big. Yeah. Now, do you cut off the stems on the portobello, or you cut them off? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I see we're chopping up some broccoli.
Fresh broccoli.
That's regular broccoli. Yeah. That's right. What do you call that? American broccoli?
Yeah, we call it regular.
Yeah, regular broccoli.
Yeah.
All right. Which is also good for you from a health point of view. All right, so we got the broccoli going in. I got everything sizzling. Everything made from scratch. And of course, is this olive oil from Italy?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Luca.
All right, Luca.
And I get my olive oil from? I get it from Title Brothers in the Bronx.
North Avenue?
North Avenue, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Title Brothers. Yeah.
All right. Now I just see a bunch of greens. What are those?
That's broccoli
Broccoli
rapa. That's broccoli rapa.
Oh, you know what? I've never seen broccoli rabe uncooked before.
Really? That's what it is. Yeah, now you just got to cut it up.
It's a green leafy vegetable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. All right,
That goes in the pan. That's the...
Wow, listen to that.
Whoa, wow, that's a sizzle. That's good, yeah.
Wow. You know, as they say, that's a red line on the wave meter.
That's it.
All right. Oh, a little bit of... So wait, you just... So salt, pepper, hot pepper.
All right.
Chicken stock?
Yeah.
All right, hey, a new one.
Hey, Richie, you're a good man, huh?
There you go.
You want to work tomorrow?
In 20 years, maybe, if Andre needs a day off,
that's it.
I may, say, don't worry.
You are welcome.
All right, so we got the broccoli. Now, what's interesting is you're putting in a colander.
Yeah.
Because this is going to put a last. Otherwise, if you put early, it change the color.
Okay. See, these are all the secrets of cooking.
Yeah.
All right. I know, but hey, it's really hot in here. So we're cooking now. Is this the water that boils for the pasta?
Yes.
Okay. Do you put salt or anything like that?
Nothing, no.
Just straight water?
Just plain water.
Just
I
plain
got the
water.
big pot here, too. I mean, when you get busy, that's what they need, so.
All right. Now, what kind of pans are these? And is there anything special?
Aluminum pan.
They're
Aluminum pans, but these are all.
They'll get roasted on it.
Yeah.
And they can take being in the oven. They can handle it.
How old are these pans? They're old, right?
Well, this is a long time. This is about 30 years old pan.
Wow. Wow. So they've seen a few dishes.
They look,
They've seen a few dishes in their day. All right, now. So what are we waiting for, and what's the next step?
well, we got to make chicken for broccoli.
Okay.
And then after that we have to make chicken. We cannot make it ahead of time. We have to make it fresh.
Right.
So it comes out fresh because it gets tough.
So when you prep the chicken, do you marinate it? Do anything to it?
Yeah, salt, pepper. We also put light hot pepper.
Okay. And then just like a pinch here and a dash there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so here's the chicken.
That's the chicken.
All right. So that's nice, fresh chicken breast.
That's going to be with the broccoli and the penne.
Okay. Oh, listen to that. Listen to this sound. Doesn't it sound great? I'm telling you. Do I have the best job in radio? I have the best job in radio. I'm telling you. Between this, by the way, I actually was on an aircraft carrier a few weeks ago, and I saw them cook for 2,000 people. And remember, there's 4 meals on an aircraft carrier. And
how many chefs they had, Rich?
There was a ton of chefs, and all of that. But they had these giant 60-gallon kettles that were using to boil and cook things.
Right.
And it's just there's like the cake guy. Yeah. There's the hamburger guy. Right. I mean, I saw them make like hamburgers for like 2,000 guys. Wow. It's unbelievable. All the soldiers, the fighting men and women of the Marines and the. That's like a little bit of a flambé.
Yeah. Now,
I see that the chicken really cooked real fast on that.
Yeah, because those stoves are hot, Rich. Yeah.
Is that sort of the secret? Just have a really good hot.
You have to have good stoves, yeah. These are garland
These are
stoves.
commercial.
Yeah, these are garland stoves. Yeah.
All right. And I see he took some of the hot water,
Yeah.
so he didn't have to waste time
No.
waiting for it to
Yeah,
boil.
yeah.
Very interesting. Now, the sauce, the tomato sauce that you use, is there a kind of tomato that like, there's the plum tomato, there's the cherry, there's all these tomatoes. We have a couple in our garden.
Right.
What's the tomato
we
of choice in
like
the
to use
sauce?
the plum tomato.
Plum tomato.
Yeah. All right. The plum tomato.
All right. So we're cooking, and
That's gonna make a chicken piacentina.
so during the day, while we're watching all this stuff cook, during the day, how many chefs you got?
I have one chef here, one chef there, 3 chefs.
Right, and then how many guys are conveying sort of the raw ingredients over, or do the chefs do that too?
No, the chefs do that too. Yeah, they come out and they do their.
They come out and do their thing. So who does all of the peeling of the shrimp and cutting the broccoli?
I have other people downstairs do that. Yeah,
Right.
I have food prep guys also.
Right, because there's there's a never-ending amount of
Oh no, it
cutting, washing.
Yeah, it starts when everything comes in the morning. Yeah, everything comes in the morning, Richie. It comes in, and one guy preps it, and they prepare how much they need, and everything else. Guys, get out of his way.
So how do you know how much to buy?
You look at your reservation book, and you get an idea more or less.
So you know this more from the gut.
Yeah. Reservation book, and also time of season. Also,
Right.
you know your high times and your low times. Like in December, you have a lot of holiday parties and things like that. So you know you're going to build yourself. You got to almost order double what you normally do on slow nights. Like,
All right, so how do you know how much pasta to grab? A circle?
Filling.
So wait, so it'd be index finger to the thumb.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your serving. All right, cool.
And we put our pasta for
And then there's, so there's the pasta. All right,
Right.
cool. I say so is that ziti?
penne ziti.
Yeah.
That's cooking.
And then how do you know, I guess you like it al dente, is that the,
Yeah.
how do you know, do you do it by time or look or color?
I pick it up and, I can feel it that it's cooked.
So you pick it up with a little fork thing there, and then if it droops a certain way,
If it bends down, that means it's cooked.
all right.
And this one, I can pick it up and...
Do you think after all the cooking shows I've done that I actually would have learned how to cook better?
You're a good cook, Richie.
Working on it. I like to make soup. But soup is so labor intensive.
It is.
You know?
It takes a little while.
Oh, so the chicken's already almost there.
Yeah, almost there.
And then let's see, we got a little flour. Oh, so what are we making now?
Chicken piacentina.
All right. So
You dip it in flour.
wait, you dip it in flour, right?
And then we put in a fry pan, sauteed with prosciutto, white wine, light red sauce, and mozzarella on the top, fresh mozzarella on the top.
We use monster cheese, yeah.
All right, so when you use white wine, is there do you use certain wines to cook with?
Basically, we use a Chablis over here.
Let's take a peek. What do you like to use, and why do you use that over something else?
Wine. Oh, you mean what the brand is?
No. It doesn't matter what the brand is, but why do you pick that particular kind for cooking as opposed to drinking?
The Chablis. I think my chefs have always liked to cook with the Chablis for going way back. So you always like to use with the Chablis. So yeah, I'm going back.
Is it just lighter? Does it?
It's just a touch lighter than yeah.
And does it break down a little bit better?
It's just a touch bit better, yeah, Richie. So yeah.
Now, as far as alcohol content, is it better to have more alcohol so it burns off, or less or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters. I mean, the amount of wine that you put into a sauce, it doesn't. You're not putting an overabundance of it.
And we got Jack just appeared because of course
you bring me in as an actor. Because,
Well, you've been an actor.
No, we're live. We're live. I brought you in because you know that the food's just about to be served, and I think you're looking for anything that maybe that needs a taste test or something like that.
Well, Richard, let me tell you something. First of all, thank you for a wonderful interview you did with me like a couple of months ago. But if I can say something about this wonderful establishment is this. I eat like 5 times a day at Fellini. a week at Fellini's.
5 times a day.
Yeah, it was a joke.
What a joke.
He's thin.
5 times a week.
He's thinner than me.
This is the best Italian.
By 2 pounds.
This is the best Italian restaurant in New York City. And not only me, all my fellow actors are coming here. Eva Mendes was here. Lucy Liu was here. Stephen Bauer was here. Chris Christopherson was here. Pierce Brosnan was here. I mean, a lot of celebrities. They love this place.
I noticed their pictures on the front door.
Of course.
Yeah.
And sorry, Richie, my picture is there too.
That's right. You're on the bottom right. Yeah.
There you go.
So, of course, what's missing is the picture of Richard Solomon.
Comes to the... Are you recording this, Richard?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Whoever
the red light.
Whoever comes to this place feels like a family, feels like a king. I always say, you want to feel like a king, come to Fellini's.
There you go. Look at
Thank
that.
you.
So we're just about out of time. So what we're going to do is going to wrap this up. We're at Forlini's. We're going to take some pictures, and this was just phenomenal. And we're going to ask Andre, what do you finish it with a little bit of butter? Oh, because it makes it white wine and butter. Oh, I'm telling you, if you can only smell this, well, I guess the only way to really smell is come on down. See you on Baxter Street. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to Jack, Andre, and delicious food. Let's get one more sizzle in there. One more sizzle.
Get a sizzle.
There we go. There we go. Well, there you go. There's some sizzle there. Well, listen to that. All right. So come on down. We'll see you and say you heard it on the radio. All right. We just had some fabulous food. And I forgot to ask, it shows you that the production team was a little deficient today. I forgot to ask the most important question, which is, how do you make a good cup of coffee here? So what's the secret?
Richie, first of all, it's New York City water.
Yep.
And number two, the beans that go into that coffee, you got a certain type of beans that go into that coffee that we have here, Richie. So especially the espresso beans that I get, good, solid, strong beans, and you grind them up and you put them in if you make espresso or American coffee, that's what you need. That's it. But the water is tantamount.
Well, they say that about pizza.
Yep.
Bagels, bread, that the reason why it's so much better here is because the water's better.
The water's better, 100% right, Richie, because you go down to Florida, it don't taste as good as New York.
Everyone from Florida says the same thing, which is, as soon as they get off the plane, where's the pizza joint? It's like,
where's my bagel place?
I need a bagel Sunday morning.
It bounces into the stage there. It doesn't bounce up. It's not fluffy,
So when you make the coffee, do you grind the bean right before you brew it?
We grind, yes, we do, Richie. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then, is there any secret formula in terms of heat, temperatures, or the kind of milk you use?
That's all regulated by the coffee machine that we have here. But that's one of those old espresso Cimbali espresso machines that's from the 1970s or 80s, and. The milk has got to be ice cold too. If you make a cappuccino, ice cold milk, steam it, and just put it right in with the espresso coffee.
Now, do you personally like cappuccino, espresso? Like, what is your coffee drink? I happen to like cappuccino.
I'm a cappuccino. If I had to drink something, I'd drink the cappuccino.
Right. I love cappuccino. Now, do you put any alcohol in it or anything like that once in a while?
No, I don't.
Just straight up?
Just straight up.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're done. Thanks for listening. All right, for all those people who like 1956, we're looking at the Forlini's restaurant menu from 1956. What's interesting is it's broken down by day of the week. So the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday food are all sort of different. And then there's a la carte and appetizers, pizza, desserts, sandwiches, and beverages. All right, so Joe, tell me, what do we got, and what's a little shocking here?
Well, the prices are probably the most shocking of them all. I mean, you could get a shell steak with French fries, lettuce, and tomato for $2 over here.
You get a bowl of lentil soup on Monday for a quarter.
Yeah. And you come back Tuesday for a bowl of minestrone for a quarter. And split pea on Wednesday for a quarter, too. Right, Richie? Look at that.
Look at this. All right, spaghetti with oil and garlic, 60 cents.
Yeah.
All right, so Saturday's the big day. You got a minestrone soup for a quarter. You have fotticelli and meat sauce for 60 cents.
Yeah.
You have fotticelli and tomato sauce for 50 cents.
Then you get chicken cacciatore for $1. Look at that, huh?
So that must have been the big item.
That's the big item.
And roast beef for $1.05. $1.05, yeah.
Huh?
And stuffed peppers for 75 cents.
And then if you get thirsty, Richie, look what we got in the back over. Most of those things back then were rye. Look at the rye that we have here, Richie.
Look at this. It was Carstairs, Wilson, Imperial, Fleischmann, Paul Jones, Park and Tilford Reserve, Calvert, Shenley, Seagram 7, that's still around, Hunter, Four Roses, Lord Calvert, P&T Private Stock, Kinney, and PM.
PM, yeah.
Wow. Yep. Now, the big one here, I guess, is the 45 cent. So for Four Roses and Lord Calvert, Calvet.
45 cents.
45 cents. So that's the big Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a martini for 50 cents.
Wow. And then let's see what kind of wines we got here. There's Via Armando.
Well, you have the imported wines here. You got Bola Bardolino, $3. That had to be a big. That's the flask quart. Then you got the let me see, Orvieto, $1.50. Rufino Chianti.
A quart. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And then you got some Sangiovese wines for $3, and
Look
you
at
got
this.
some private stock.
So wait, am I reading this correctly? That a draft beer is 15 cents?
15 cents, yeah.
Wow. So you could have a whole meal for under $1, including alcohol.
Well, you can,
if you did it right. If you did it right.
And you know what? Leave the tip too. It's under $1.
Wow.
Look at that. You got Rheingold, Schlitz, Blatz, all those type of deals. Yeah.
And I bet you this is when Rheingold brewed in the city.
That's probably
right.
it. 1956, sure.
Right. I actually, it shows you my age. My father and mother took me to the Rheingold Brewery as a kid.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
cool.
I remember they eating the pretzels with the 3 rings. Yeah. It was this cognacs. You have cognacs. The big one here is Remy Martin for 70 cents.
Yeah. You got Hennessy and Martell for 65 cents. That's when you had money, you could afford it, you know?
Wow. So this is really such a throwback. And what's interesting is look at your phone number.
Yeah.
Worth 29316. Because in those days, people had exchanges based on names.
Names, yeah.
Like Pennsylvania 5000 really was the phone number in the Hotel Pennsylvania by 7th Avenue.
But you know what? I just saw something here. Look at that. Rums. It had Bacardi Cuban.
Because that's right before that's the real.
Castro,
Yeah.
I mean, it's 55 cents, but I'm just saying, before they took over and they moved the Bacardi rums out to, Puerto Rico? I think they moved
it was. I've been to the
Yeah,
plant
yeah.
in Catania.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
this is really amazing. And so when you look at this, it's called Forlini's Restaurant, Bar and Pizzeria.
Yeah.
Everything's delightly fine, featuring cleanliness and service.
yeah.
There, how you like that? Now, when did you save this or did you find it?
No, my father saved this. My father and my uncle saved these restaurants.
Right, and then they just gave it to you.
Well, they put it downstairs. We put it downstairs. They put it in a folder, and we once in a while we take this out once in a while. So yeah.
Wow. So I'll have the bowl of lentil soup for a quarter. Right. So if I was eating today, I'd have a bowl of lentil soup for a quarter.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'd have a nice bowl of pasta. Well, you got
to look at spaghetti
and tomato sauce. So for 75 cents, I'm having soup, pasta, and if I want to be a real slicker for 15 cents, I'll have a draft beer. Yeah, all right.
You're talking, huh?
So that's why people love the 50s.
Yeah.
All right. So for those out there, this is what the 1950s was like eating, and this was considered to be real high class stuff.
Yeah. Sure,
all right, and wait, and then just to finish up, a dessert ice cream was 15 cents.
Ice cream, fruit cocktail, pies were 15 cents.
And here it is.
Pie a la mode.
A quarter for pie a la mode.
Get that ice cream scoop on top, right, Rich?
Wow. And then spumoni.
And Totoni, 25 cents. Wow.
It's great
you have
stuff.
all your Italian sandwiches, Italian salami, Italian corpo, roast beef sandwiches, meatballs. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
And so now you have pizza here. So is this like a little pie?
No, those were big pies, regular pie.
Like the 8-slice?
Yeah, 8-slice pies. Going back, we had the pizza ovens here when they first.
So if you had a pizza with mozzarella, right?
Yeah.
$1 for the small, and $1.35 for a large.
Huh?
Wow!
You could get chubby eating this stuff,
and you won't break the bank going.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you want to get high class, you got pizzas with anchovies, $1.60. Get those anchovies on there, huh?
Wow. Yeah. See, those were the good old days.
Yeah.
Really. All right, Rich Solomon with 1956, a flashback in food. Thanks.
That's it, man.